So what I want to talk about is how to construct a logo or an icon from simple shapes, and also how to simplify an image into a logo. And I'll share my screen with you. Okay, I have Adobe Illustrator here open, and I want to create a new document. And what you get is in the opening scene screen is this, and it will give you some of these recent items if you have had some, and then there are lots of other options, just like there are options for Photoshop when you open that, and these there are presets, and then there are templates, and I think the templates have multiplied in the recent versions of both Illustrator and Photoshop for the reason that probably that the other apps like Canva, for instance, which is almost free, provides people with a lot of different sorts of templates, and where you can start from. So, for instance, if I go here to mobile, then and I look at some of these templates, let's see preview. So there are these app icon sets that you can use, where the sizes and stuff are already there, so it should be easy to put your icons there in those sizes. What else have we got here? Circular material icon set, also a set of icons. Yep. There's wireframe kit for Android, also these mock-up images that you can use, where you can put your designs inside, which is quite practical, I guess. So I recommend you to look at these templates, also thinking of possible inspiration, and also you can see that what you need to have if you have like maybe a company UI kit. Here. Platformer web flowcharts kit. Okay, simple website layouts. Well, you go to any website hosting or other program, you get these website layouts like in the hundreds, or I'm thinking now of, for instance, Wix.com, where, well, with Wix you can just put your content there, and then the AI makes you from simple liking references your website, which you can then tweak. Anyway, for film and video, you will find title graphics templates. Okay, I don't know if that's good looking. And for print, there are, okay, what did I want to show here? Tailored stationery set, for instance. So I wonder how many companies have their own stationery sets these days. In the 1990s, it used to be that every company was supposed to have one. Zodiac logos. Anyway, what you can find here, as you probably already know, is also the presets. And right now I'm going to the print presets. Although what we are working with here is vectors, so the preset sizes are not that important, because you can also export your designs out in vector format. But of course, if you export them in pixel format, then you have to see that the sizes here are all okay. And talking about the resolutions, in around the year 2000, it was really simple that everything that was on a screen had the same resolution, and that was 72 dpi. But now it has changed, and some mobile screens, they have a bigger resolution than print. So if you look at the pixel sizes, they are partly bigger than the print A4. For instance, here for the iPad Pro, 2048 times, okay, I'll write that down. So 2732. Then let's go see in the print presets the basic A4, and let's see the pixels here. All right. For this lesson, I'm going to use RGB color, because I'm not going to print anything that I'm going to do right now. But of course, if you want to have a good logo design that works also in print colors, then you should have the CMYK, or at least when you are taking the colors, you should see to it that they are in the CMYK range, which is smaller than the RGB range, which is the color of light. There was actually a project where I'm inside of TAMK, where somebody else had made the logos for the project and other visual guidelines, and they were quite fine. But when we did something that should have been printed, we noticed that the basic color for the logo and for the whole set of visuals was not printable, and there was no nothing to that we could use instead of the RGB color as a CMYK color, so we had to make our own decision there. Okay, I'm going to use only one artboard and then have several layers there for what I'm going to do. But keep in mind that you can make different kinds of, or several artboards in one Illustrator document. Also, I'm not going to have any bleed here because, as I said, I'm not going to print it. Otherwise, the bleed would be important. Okay. And there we go. And just to remind you that there is indeed the possibility of making several artboards here. Here's the artboard tool. So when you click that, then you are in the artboard state. So you can change the size of the artboard that you're working with, or you can go and create another artboard beside it. And you can make it any size you want, or you can just say that, okay, you want to have a second artboard that is one of these sizes. So very handy. And by the way, sometimes this the zoom, this upper, what do you call this thingy, comes out and then obscures the view of what I'm doing actually, and then sometimes it just goes away by itself. So now I'm not seeing the upper corners of the app. I'm going to have to move it a little bit to show it. Yes, I'll leave the artboard state. And anyway,
Carita, nothing is covered for us actually. It's all shown.
That's nice.
Yeah.
But as long as the upper thing is shown here on my screen, I can't show you, I can't get to the buttons that are underneath it and the menus. Anyway, what I wanted to show you was the workspace. There used to be a workspace button. I don't know if it's still somewhere, but anyway, you can get to the workspaces under Window. And the workspace I like to use is called Essentials Classic, which I have well fine-tuned a little bit to my liking. And the thing with the workspace is that you can make it, create it in your way. And when you open up the program again, it will remember the way you used it the last time, which is quite nice. So the reason why I like to use Essentials Classic is because then I can see these tools here on the right-hand side, and also the properties window. And I like to use Illustrator together with this toolbar. So I'm not saying that you should use Essentials Classic, I'm just saying why I'm using it. So and by the way, what I have also done with these side tools is I've gone to here and put show options. Like if I put hide options, then it will show less stuff here, well, less options. And when I click show options, then I have more things that I can work with. By the way, here for the colors, I change RGB to HSB. So yes, I like to take my colors either from here or from the swatches. And usually for a document, I like to document also my colors in the Swatches palette, or at least some of them. Okay, so let's start working. And go a little bit closer. Okay, how to construct a logo from simple shapes, or how to deform these simple shapes. That's the actual question. So let's start with those simple shapes, and I go to the Polygon tool, or actually as you can see, you can find, or as you can know, you can find several tools here under the rectangle tool. So I'll take the ellipse tool first and create a simple circle. And by clicking Shift, I keep the ellipse as a circle. There we go. And without manipulating the shape, I can do a lot already with just the circle. So let's see, what can I do? Well, first of all, of course, I can say if there is a fill or a stroke. And by the way, by clicking X on the keyboard, I can get quickly to either of these. So of course I can also click this, but somehow I like to click the X. So this way I can get to change the stroke or the outline, and here I can click some fill to it. It has a white fill already. Okay, but right now I'm going to go back to having no fill at all. So none is this option. You can also find the same things over here. So, okay, let's make the stroke a little bit fatter. Okay, and now that we have some fatness, maybe I could go here to the actual stroke options. Now I can see the weight, and I can see also other interesting things, like maybe I'll try out a dashed line, but okay, I'll just make a copy of this before I go and manipulate it. So when I click the Alt button on a Windows PC, I get the duplicate option. So you can see the cursor becomes this duplication thing when I'm holding the Alt button down, and I can just drag out the copy. Okay. So here we go, and I wanted to try out a dashed line here. Okay, that's not bad. Maybe if I put the weight even bigger here, maybe to, instead of 25, 55. Yeah, that might be a logo already with some tweaking maybe. Okay, so I do have here, it remembered my previous settings that I clicked that it should have like a 12-point dash and a 5 points gap. Let's try it out if it's like a 5 points dash and a 12 points gap. So you can see that that is possible to do all kinds of interesting stuff just with this dashed line. Or let's make it 3 points gap. Yeah, not bad, but maybe 7 points. Okay, for printing that kind of logo has too much little things, I think. So if you print it, then there's the problem that these fine lines could be smudged when the ink hits the paper, especially if the paper is very well soft, or if you have fabric, for instance, where you have to print it. So let's make the dash fatter, 15, and also make the gap a little bit bigger, 5. Okay, of course, there are different ways of filling things, and even an outline can have a gradient, as you probably remember. So I go here to the gradient and later into the gradient tool, but first I'll click once here. Oh, this was wrong. So I'll need to click so that the stroke is in the foreground, of course. Okay, so there I have a gradient. And now what I could do is go to the edit gradient mode. And put some colors there. There are other ways of editing gradients, but this is one of them. And we'll see what these ways are. So I can put several colors here by clicking on the plus. Although when you have a logo, it's not always advisable to have a lot of colors there. And it should be also working as a grayscale image. Okay. So that's one way of doing stuff, but let's go a little bit back by clicking Control Z. But yeah, I think I'll save this gradient here in the swatches. I might want to use it at some point again. Okay, but I think I'll change.
Could you show again how you saved the gradient to the swatches?
Yeah, sure. So as long as the as it's active and also the stroke is in the foreground, like you see here, then I can go to the swatches and then click here on the plus sign. Sorry, I didn't explain that earlier.
Oh.
And then
yes,
it will ask me like, what is this new swatch? And then I will click OK and maybe give it a name if I want to. So what I'm doing here now is I'm going to the appearance and I want to change it back to one color. The appearance window is quite important. So because here you can also give several fills or several strokes to your objects. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to show it to you or remind you that it is there. Okay, I think I'll save that light blue color here in the swatches as well. I can also, well, save my own swatch palettes and also these color combinations I can save for later use, by the way. Okay, a little bit of water. Okay, I'm not yet done with manipulating the circle itself. So let's try this copy of the circle, and I'll duplicate it again, just to have one copy there that hasn't been manipulated. So I can try out different sorts of outlines here for the circle, and just, well, I have now decided to keep it as a circle, yes, but well, the first place where I would go would probably be the brushes. So I can find different sorts of brush libraries here. For instance, here in the artistic brushes, there's all sorts of interesting stuff going on, but it might be a little bit too much for a logo. But here's, for instance, the artistic ink brushes. There are quite a few of them. So then the logo would be like this, but I'm not quite convinced that I want something like that this time. But now you remember where to find those brush libraries. What I would actually like to try out is this tool, which is called the width tool. So here, the width tool. Under the width tool, there are these warp tools, which can also be fun, but the width tool is right now something that I want to try out. So the width tool basically does this kind of stuff, that you can make some widths in your stroke fatter and some, again, well, thinner. And also, now that I have my width vectors here, by clicking Alt, I can take only one of these widths and then manipulate that on its own. Okay, so this is maybe not what I wanted, but an interesting result. So I was clicking on Alt and then changing stuff. I didn't click quite on the anchor that was there, which is why it did this. But if I click here on the anchor and then with the Alt button pressed, I can make interesting changes, or at least changes that are potentially interesting. And you can use the width tool, of course, with any sorts of graphics, also if it's an illustration. So remember the width tool. Okay, so let's go one step further and start manipulating the shape itself. I'll make a new layer for that. Here in the layer window, I click create new layer. There we go. And I'll make this layer invisible for the while. And let's start again with the simple circle. There we go. And this time I want to have a filled one with no outline or no stroke. So first of all, no stroke. And then let's have a fill. Oh, that's ugly. Well, actually, there are no ugly colors, but I was not in the mood for that color now. Okay, so let's have this light grayish blue or bluish gray, however you want it. So I want to manipulate this circle by cutting it up, because that's this cutting and slicing and moving those slices is one of the ways of making a logo. So how to cut it? There are several ways for that. You can find the eraser tool just beside the pencil tool, and well, underneath the eraser tool there's also the scissors tool and the knife tool, and there are other ways of cutting besides that. So I'll demonstrate the eraser tool first to show what it's good for and what it's not good for. So basically I can erase anything by just going over it. Yeah, but it's a bit boring. And also I don't want to have freeform slicing. So maybe if I click on Shift while I'm going, okay, it didn't do that. Okay, I have to click Shift before I start erasing, then it will give me a straight line. And that's what I was looking for right now. By the way, I think it would be a good idea again to copy this. Okay, so I can get straight lines from the eraser by first clicking the Shift, like this. And then I can go to the...
I think also pressing Alt has some sort of a trick. I think it gives like a whole corner, I think, or an angle, kind of.
Yeah. So with all the tools in Illustrator, I strongly suggest that you try out the both the Alt and the Shift and the Control buttons. They can do wonders. Anyway, now I can move these sections that I cut, and also give them different colors. And there might be some sort of logo already. Okay, and if I take this away, I think you, there's one logo in particular that you remember. For, I don't know, this says Pepsi Cola for me. It's not exactly the same, but yeah, many logos of big companies are consistent of really simple shapes. And that's why I find it important to see how to do these simple shape manipulations. Well, also they are really simple. Okay, so let's get going and do something else. And let's see other ways of, well, cutting stuff in Illustrator. I'll just move that a little bit further away. Okay, other ways of cutting. Like I said, there was also the scissors tool and the knife tool. Well, with the scissors tool, you need to know where the anchors are. And then you need to go through it. Okay, please use the scissors tool and segment or an anchor to point. Yeah, I was probably on some of the endpoints. Okay, I'll first click here and then here, and now there's the scissors have done the work. Or I go and take the pen tool and click a few more points here on the path. Oh, I made a new path. Okay, now I'm on the path, and now sometimes this, okay, now it made a new anchor on this path. I didn't start a new path. Okay, I think I have already cut something that I didn't notice I cut. Oh yeah, the scissors cut this earlier. But anyway, now I can use the scissors tool by cutting from different points here. And talking of points, well, I can of course manipulate or any path by just going to the well, direct selection tool, then clicking on a couple of points, anchor points, and then clicking on cut path. Now it looks like I didn't do anything, but if I go back to the black arrow selection tool and click away and then click again here, now I can see that yes, it did indeed cut my circle in half. Okay.
Sorry, could you show that one more time, please?
Sure. Oh. Let's take that away and make a copy of this. So this time I will first create a few more anchor points on this, on the path of this circle, like random, quite randomly here. Okay, then I take the direct selection tool, which I can also find by clicking A, and I select a couple of 2 points where I want the path to cut. Here, these 2 anchor points. Then I'll click here on cut path, or I think there was also Control C, which cuts the path for me. Okay, now I need to click away once and take the other selection tool, the V selection tool, because V is the, and now move the cuts away so that I can actually see it.
Perfect, thank you.
Mhm. So yeah, and the point is that once you have made these cuts, then you can move them slightly or maybe a little bit more, and then make new shapes that way. Of course, you don't need to actually manipulate the shape. If you, well, you can also, what you can also do is just copy the same shape, and then let's do that. Then put that copy on top of the previous one, and voila, you have a new shape. Well, it's not much of a shape, but let's make it more interesting looking by making this one bigger. Well, a very nondescript logo as such, but it might be a logo of some nondescript company. Let's put a little bit more contrast to these 2 shapes. And yeah, this could work as a logo together with some text. Like, I'm trying to go as simple as possible, and that's usually good when you're thinking logos. But I could do something that is a little bit more complex and maybe have 2 of these balls. Okay, it didn't actually copy it. Now it did. Okay. So yeah, could be a logo. Or I could put these inside here. And pretty soon somebody is going to ask how to put them more precisely on the sides. And let's just see. Well, of course, the software helps you. Like right now you see that it's showing me when this shape is intersecting the bigger shape, and when it is intersecting certain other shapes, which is a great help. But sometimes you need a little bit more help. So let's say I want the midpoints of these 3 to be exact, and also I want them to be distributed in a more exact way. So of course there's then I'll just select all of them and go to the align tools. Okay, what I need is a vertical align center. Yes. Then I need a distribution tool so that they are distributed evenly. And here's the horizontal distribute center. I think that's it. Yes. Okay, in order to show that it's really working, I'll put this one further away from these 2. And then let's have the horizontal distribute center again. Okay, now you see that it's actually working. it's looking for the mathematical center point.
I have a quick question, because, for example, now you move the small circle and it shows this kind of approximate line, so you can put it approximately in the middle.
Yes.
This doesn't somehow work for me. It has before in Illustrator, but I don't know if I took something wrong. So like if I only move like one of those smaller circles, it shows like when it's in the middle or something, but it doesn't for me. Is there anything I might have said wrong?
Well, that hasn't happened to me before. So maybe, well, we have more than 30 people. Anybody else? Have you had that problem?
Do you mean like the guidelines don't show the spacing or what? Did
You
I
mean the-
misunderstand?
Yeah, there's like, you see the purple
mean
lines, they
these?
don't show for me.
Yeah, it kind of depends. Like in my experience, like my PC is a little slow, so it doesn't always show those. And kind of the Illustrator version. That's why I like to just create them myself with like rulers.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't think I changed the settings because I never do. I'm scared I changed them and can't get them back. So I'll just see. I mean, there's other options Carita has shown, so no
Yep.
worries. I just
you
thought
can-
someone might know.
You can also use the distribute and alignment settings, like I showed.
Yeah.
Okay. I also have a question.
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it, but like that panel like on top that you use, I don't have it. How do I turn it on?
This one.
Yeah.
Okay, it usually shows up automatically, but you can also find it from elsewhere. And now I went to Moodle. Okay, so I'm here under window. There's the alignment settings. Align here, so you can find it as a window on itself, and then also you can put it here on this tools panel, so that it's there every time you need it.
Thank you.
All right. So I think many of you would like to merge these shapes already. I know I do. So let's go into that next. So first of all, I'd like to make this one maybe a little bit bigger, and then intersect it with the first one, and I'll change the color so that you can see what's happening here. Am I getting these horrible color combinations all the time? Anyway, what I want is to get actually rid of this this shape. I'm looking at the negative shapes that are forming here between this shape and that. So there are a couple of ways of combining shapes these days in Illustrator. It used to be really, well, not very easy to do that, but now it has become easier. So the two main ways of combining shapes are by using the Pathfinder, which some of the options you can see here. I have also put the whole Pathfinder window over here. And there are several shape modes for the Pathfinder. And with these, you can, for instance, unite and make this kind of compound shape like this. Well, that doesn't look like much, but anyway, that's how you can put two shapes together. Or you can make like this intersection of two shapes by cropping them. So now only what's shared by those two shapes is there. But this is kind of a hit and miss often when you use the Pathfinder. Or you can make this dividing thing that's, well, then they are one, but still all the lines are there. Then there's a new way of doing it by using the Shape Builder tool. So let's see, the Shape Builder tool is over here. It's over where there's the live paint buckets and the live paint selection tool. There's first of all the Shape Builder tool. So first of all, if you want, well, maybe I'll make all of these. Well, I think you can see what it's doing anyway. So now with the Shape Builder tool active, I can click on any of these parts of these two shapes and make them into shapes in their own sake. But I think first I'll move this a little bit up. Yeah. I'm not convinced that this is good. So maybe if I duplicate this, because I have something in mind that I want to do. So all of this is about making new shapes. So I'm not really thinking about the colors now. They are not that important right now for me.
I
Okay.
think this might be a good moment to remind to save because my Adobe
Yes.
crashed and I think I lost.
Okay, that's a good idea, usually. Okay, what I want to do is, well, first with the Shape Builder, I need to have things selected. Then I go to the Shape Builder tool, and then I click on these different shapes that are there. I click on them one by one. Now I can, for instance, if I click on this shape here, I can just, now they are all made into their own shapes. Now I go to the direct selection tool, and I can click, for instance, for this shape. Okay, that was kind of a mistake for me to have one fill here, but yeah, I'll just delete this and now you can see what I'm actually doing here. So here, this could be a logo now, for instance. And each of these could have their own fill, of course. Okay, do you want me to show this again?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's have, for variation's sake, let's use the Polygon tool now. And by the way, with the Polygon tool, when you are making the polygon and when you're clicking your up and down arrows, you can get more or less well, angles into the polygon. Angle is not the word, but corner point, maybe. Yeah. So that's, I made a triangle using the Polygon tool, and with Shift I make it upright. So now I want to have a stroke, not just for the triangle, not for myself. Let's take the fill to well, maybe let's make it white so you can see really clearly what I'm doing. And the stroke, let's make it fatter while I'm at it. Okay, so I will copy this, and there we have already some sort of a this could be a logo in itself, and probably is. I'll make this triangle bigger. And make it intersect with the other one. Let's take the fill out so I can see the intersected shapes better. Okay. And then I'll click on both of these so that they are selected and go to the shape builder tool. And now when I'm inside a shape, then it will show that, okay, now, and it's asking me if I want to click and make this into a shape builder tool shape. And yes, I do. And let's do the same for this one and the same for this one. And now I have built this into shapes. I can take my direct selection tool and also get rid of the shapes that I don't want to have. For instance, this one here. Now I'm clicking on the path. There it is. Now it is its own shape that I can either fill up somehow or maybe delete. And I'm going to delete it. And this is also its own shape, which I can now move like this. So yeah, this might be a logo. And, so deconstructing shapes. That's one way of building a logo. So always remember to look for the negative shapes, that the negative spaces are interesting looking. And here, I actually like this because here the person who is looking at the shape, their imagination makes the triangle whole. And that's usually good for a logo. If you're if the viewer has to do something also. All right, let's have a 5 minutes break here and then go on to combining different shapes or twisting the shapes. And also before lunch hour, I wanted to show you how to simplify an image into a logo. So do you have like the energy to go on until 12?
Yeah, sounds doable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stop the sharing and stop the recording for now.